What's up, everyone? I have Alyx with me today from House Macros. Hi, Alyx.
Hey.
Hey, girl. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good. I'm so glad to have you here. Thank you for participating. I am like really excited because I feel like you're gonna be like the first mom boss. Oh, hence my hat. You should be wearing this hat because I'm not even a mom yet. But you're like the first like mom boss. I feel like that's really gonna be sharing, that part. So I'm really excited. So to start out, why don't you just tell everyone who's listening or watching who you are, where you're from, what you're into, just like basic stuff, and then we can get a little deeper, yeah?
Okay, sounds good. A little bit about me.
Yeah.
So I am Alyx Gardner. I'm from Napa, California, and this is my office. I am a mom of 2 girls, and I'm a single mom of 2 girls. I'm a proud single mom. I got to represent all those ladies out there that have to do it by themselves. They're out there, but nothing to say anything about any other mom out there. It's all the same work. It's hard.
Yeah.
And let's see, I'm the owner of House Macros, and I am passionate about helping women and breaking people free of the diet culture. And I love fitness and CrossFit, and I love all things empowering, specifically with women, but I like helping everybody.
Yeah. Sweet. Awesome. By the way, I have to point out your vision board in the background because it's like so epic.
Yes,
I love that.
Every day.
Yes. So, okay. So this summit is basically for women who are struggling to prioritize themselves, specifically their health, right? And part of that, I feel like, is always linked to a lack in connection with their passion and like their purpose in life in general. So this whole summit is really just exploring those 2 things and how they correlate and like how you've come through it and out the other side and all of that. So what I kind of wanted to just start with is like your story. Like you mentioned you're a single mom and now you're an owner. I mean, you're a CrossFit coach, so you have more than one job. And you have obviously multiple roles in life.
I know.
So, what's your story and like, how did you get to this place?
Okay, so I'll start. I've always been in the fitness area. I just was an athlete my whole life, and I never realized that I had any sort of relationship with food until I was in wrestling. I became a wrestler, and I was a high-level wrestler in high school, and that was the first sport I was ever in where I had to weigh on the scale, and also be like not necessarily pushed, but very encouraged to try to get down to a lower weight class so that you can wrestle like being stronger, which now doesn't really go hand in hand with I believe now, but back then that's how it was. So I didn't realize I had a bad relationship with food until then. That was really the start of my journey to where I am now. I went through binging and purging. I learned also from a show called True Life. Do you remember a show like that on MTV?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was in high school, and I can remember this. I remember watching, it was True Life, I'm on a Diet. And it was all about these 3 people that were on a diet, and they were like, one was an old bikini model that she was a past bikini model, then gained the weight back, and then she was trying to lose it again. And the other guy was like a fighter, I think, or some sort. And I can't remember the other person, but long story short, when I was 17, I watched this and I was like, oh, this is how you lose weight. Like, she did this extreme, like only ate cottage cheese every single day to lose weight, and she lost weight extremely on the show. And so I was like, and the other guy did the same thing, not the same food, but starving and eating chicken, just mounds of chicken and broccoli. And I just remember being like, well, I don't really like plain chicken and broccoli, and my parents only buy fast food. So there's no way I'm gonna be able to do that. So, and I didn't know how to cook, obviously.
Yeah.
So I ended up doing the cottage cheese thing. And then that didn't work because I hated cottage cheese. So I started just eating everything my parents would cook. They didn't cook anything. They got pizza and fast food. And I would just eat it. And then I would wait 30 minutes and then I would throw it all up. And that's how I would lose weight.
Wow.
So I went from 132 weight class all the way to 116 in one wrestling season. And they actually told me I wasn't allowed to lose any more weight because they had a standard of what's healthy and not. And I kept losing, but I thought I was like doing the best thing I could, but now knowing I wasn't. So that's what planted that seed, and that led into being a young adult, doing this, reverting back to the same thing where I would binge and purge to keep it down, because I would be like, well, now I need to stay this skinny because, you know, now I'm skinny, so I want to stay there, and I would just keep doing that. Then I found CrossFit, and CrossFit saved my life from that. Truly, CrossFit got me out of the binging and purging because I realized right away that the amount of weightlifting I had to do and running and cardio, that I was like so fatigued that there was people like that I knew I could be better than, or like, you know, I mean, yeah, that's really what it was, be better than. And I was like, what the heck? I'm 22, like 23 years old. There's no way that this, you know, to be honest with you, I specifically remember this lady that was pregnant, cleaning 75 pounds, just like reps, like nothing. And I was like crying in the middle of the workout because I couldn't do it. And I was just so dead and tired. I also smoked cigarettes, and I threw my cigarettes out the window, never smoked again after that.
Wow.
And yeah, and then that's my journey starting with nutrition. I was like, I need to look at what I'm eating. I have to eat. Like, obviously I can't perform well.
Yeah.
And then I did that and tried doing all paleo challenge, Whole30 challenge, all the challenges, you know, doing this, do the 30 days, gain it all back, do 30 more days, gain it all back, restriction, all that. Then I found macros when I became pregnant with my daughter, and I had this huge fear that I was going to be like super overweight, and every woman in my family gained weight, extremes amount of weight when they were pregnant. They never got it off, and my whole life they would.
I know you froze. Are you still there?
There it is.
Cool.
So I'll start with, I'll just start with my whole family, or every woman in my family gained weight. Okay. So
Yeah.
every woman in my family gained extreme amount of weight when they were pregnant. Based 80 pounds. Like my mother gained 80 pounds, my grandmother gained 80 pounds. Every other woman in my family gained, I don't know about how much weight, but I know for sure 80 with my grandma and my mom, because they used to tell me my whole life, I'm telling you, that, oh, well, wait till you have kids, you know, it's really hard to keep the weight off and get the weight off when you're, you know, once you have kids, it changes the whole story and your whole, you know, makeup, basically. So I thought I was destined for that. So when I got pregnant, I was like terrified. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna gain 80 pounds and I don't know how I'm gonna, like, you know, worrying about that. So I was like, you know what, there has to be a way. There is no way, like, what's different between my parents and these people. So I'm gonna do some research on if there's a way I can like try to control that without, you know what I mean, like understanding more about nutrition. So I found macros, and macronutrients showed me that I could have a flexible, I didn't do like a strict counting. I did more of like the percentages, and I didn't even track my food. I just really, honestly, I read what macros were about, and then it really made me up my stuff on what I was eating and what percentage of the foods I was eating. So it gave me an idea of what my plate should look like. And I just intuitively kind of ate based off that.
Okay.
And then I had the baby, and I was like, all right, well, now I'm ready to, I had, I guess I should tell you, I gained 28 pounds. And that's very healthy for my height and weight. My height and stature. I'm a small,
Yeah.
I'm 5'3". So that was a perfect amount. And she was 7 pounds, 12 ounces. So I grew a perfectly healthy baby, and I was able to not gain 80 pounds.
That's
um,
awesome.
yeah, so I did that. Then I was
What
like,
did your grandma and your mom say?
oh, girl, they know now not even to test me with that stuff
Yeah.
anymore. Yep. They also said I wasn't going to be able to do it natural, and I did that too. So
But you did all natural?
all natural.
Oh, girl, we're gonna have another conversation.
Yes, I did it, and it was so exciting, and I was excited, and I was able to show them that I could do it, and women could do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then, after that, I was like, what's my new goal? So I had Archer, and I decided, I'm going to try to be top 100 in the Open for California. So I'm like, well, macros worked so well, and it started with athletes, high-level Olympic runners. That's where macros were first started back then. And then I was like, well, why can't I do it? I'm going to look into it. And I started carb cycling, and I did that kind of style of macros, which was pretty extreme. And then I decided I didn't want to do that anymore. I wanted to gain muscle. So I started doing a really gain. I did a 12-week cycle of that. Then I did a cut. And then I was like, geez, man, I had so many people coming up to me saying, what happened to your diet? And I'm like, what do you mean? What happened to my diet? I'm still on my diet, and they're like,
Yeah.
no way that you could eat that and still look the way you do. It must be genetic. Then it turned into everything was genetic. No one knows my family. I'm like, okay, but it was honestly what it really made me think about is like, it's so sad that, I used to be that person. I used to think those same things. And I started thinking like, how can I help people? And during this time I was trying to help people with nutrition free, because
Yeah.
people were asking me, and I'm like, well, it's free information on the internet. Here you go. Here you go. Here's how you do it. I tried helping them and teaching them, and and they never follow through because they didn't invest in it. They didn't invest their time. They didn't invest their money. Because as you know, skin in the game is really what that gives you a drive.
Yeah.
So these people just kept falling off. I'm like, I'm going to charge some things just to get them motivated and keep me motivated and wanting to help them. So I started really undercharging extremely, like $100 a month. Like, and I was creating meal plans and customizing it, and then doing all the things and checking in with them, all the time. And then they still would fall off. I'm like, how do you still fall off? And how do you, and then I was so upset because I'm like, I really want to help people, but just nutrition is not my thing. I can't do it. I obviously don't have the skill to teach people correctly so they do it right. And I just left that on the burner. And obviously I was in a very abusive relationship and marriage in this time too. So I didn't have a lot of time to focus on it either.
Yeah.
So now I see I could have been probably a little more successful quicker if I didn't have this other part of me that was taking all my energy and time. So as soon as I got divorced, I realized I had given up every dream that I ever had. As I met you because I was trying to open a gym,
Oh, yeah.
right? I was dating my ex-husband at the time.
Yeah.
So I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I always wanted to have my own gym. I always wanted to do these things. I just never could do it successfully. And so I finally was like, I'm gonna buckle down, do a system, get this thing right. And I got it right. And then I got overflowed with clients, like too many. I just could not handle it. Like way too many, too quick. And I realized I needed to hire someone to help me manage this. So I taught my best friend and business partner, Jamie, my exact system, literally from start to finish. And I realized that if I could teach her the system, how I could teach so many more people the same system and help even more than who I'm reaching, and I realized every woman had their own, story behind nutrition, their own experience that could so many other people that I could never reach because I can't connect with them on that level. And that's how the whole thing was born, and then here I am. So
I
I know
love it.
it's
And
a
now,
long story.
no, it's great. And now you have two daughters.
Yes. Oh yeah. I forgot about the second one.
Yeah. So I'm assuming you use macros for the second pregnancy again.
It was a good testing. I was like, let's see if this really works again. I
Yeah.
gained 1 more pound. It was the only difference.
That's so
Yeah.
crazy.
And I worked out less the second time.
Really?
Way less. Yeah, it
Were
was
you more
crazy.
flexible with your diet the second time too, or did you pretty much stick to it?
To be honest with you, I wasn't very strict. I'll tell you exactly. Every Tuesday, I went to Taco Bell and got Crunchwrap Supreme. That was my Tuesday dinner. Because
Yeah.
I craved. It was weird. I eat so healthy. I never ate fast food, but for some reason, when I was pregnant, I would drive by and I was like, oh, it smells so good. Like I don't know why, but pregnancy is weird, but
I've had the same experience. I mean, I grew up liking fast food, and then for years and years and years, I haven't been eating fast food, maybe In and Out.
yeah.
Like, McDonald's was like my childhood thing, and now that I've been pregnant, all I want, like, McDonald's has been like the worst craving.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, it's like the worst. It's like disgusting to even think about eating McDonald's, but I love it.
Girl, that was me with Archer was McDonald's, Taco Bell was Anthem.
It's so funny.
But you know what I did? I gave myself that freedom to have it once a week. And every Tuesday I had my Taco Bell, and then with Archer Wednesday was $2 Wednesday Big Macs. And for some reason I wanted the Big Mac.
You told me that. I was like, hell yeah.
That's a true story.
It's
So I mean, I
so
wasn't like super strict because I wanted to enjoy my pregnancy too.
yeah.
But it did teach me a lot on giving myself the freedom and learning about food and shame. That really helped. Pregnancy really taught me about that. So
That's true. Yeah, that's a good lesson to learn.
yeah. So yeah, I had a second baby. I got divorced like 3 months after. And then after that, I was like, you know what? I'm following my dreams. And it's gonna lead into the next question. So I mean you can
Yeah. So I guess like for you specifically, because we're talking about like pregnancy and being a mom and everything, like how did you make that leap or that commitment to like really pursuing the life that you wanted and like this big dream of starting a business and all these things? Like, 'cause most people would think, oh, it's probably way easier to do it if you have a partner there to help you, or like if you have experience in business or something.
April.
I'm frozen again? Oh no. What's going on? Here, let me pause it. Okay.
Again.
Huh?
Hopefully it doesn't happen again. It's not gonna happen again.
It's okay. I have like literally nothing to do until like 4 o'clock, so.
Me too.
Oh,
We're
good.
good. Yeah.
All right, awesome. Okay, so with that being said, like with your experience with like having 2 daughters and now coming to where you are with your business, I think it would be really helpful for women to hear like how you got there, because a lot of women are gonna think, oh, it's probably a lot easier for me to do this. I'm not even talking about like starting a business, because I don't necessarily think that all the women listening to this, that's probably not where they're at, you know?
Yeah.
But like just starting their health journey and like, you know, creating a better relationship with food, like you mentioned, or learning how to prioritize their health when they have kids and a family and all these other priorities. Like, what would be your advice for them? How did you manage to do that for yourself? All that.
I love this question because it honestly leads to everything in life. It's not
Right.
just even this. I use the same tools in every single place. So just like you said, it's not necessarily just business. But what really I tell women in both areas, in nutrition and in business, is you can focus on what you can control. And the one thing that you can 100% control in this life is what you put in your mouth and what your actions are. Like your actions, physically, you can control yourself. Of course, there's medical things that could be happening that you might have to address, but you can control your food. The majority of people can control what they're eating and what they're consuming, because we all have to eat to survive. We cannot survive without eating. And so even if we take fitness off the table, you can 100% control what you're eating. So let's say you are a very busy person. I am a very busy person. I know that life of being on, like, you gotta be on the schedule, right? There was a time when I first got divorced, I couldn't exercise. I could not work out. I had no time whatsoever, not even a minute, because I had a 3-month-old that I was breastfeeding, needed me all the time. And then I also had a very young, just turned 3-year-old who also needed a lot of my time. And then I also had to work full time, to support us. So I realized I started with this pity party, and I started reverting back to old habits and old patterns of starvation, not eating because I was stressed, and not necessarily like purposely starving myself, but I technically am purposely doing it, but I'm playing it as, well, I'm just stressed. That's what happens when I'm stressed. Well, when I finally said, why does that happen when I'm stressed? Because I choose to go back to old patterns that I used to do prior. And I decided I have to make that change. I can't preach it to other people. And also, how am I supposed to tell someone, like, you can do this, you can make the change. You don't have to be that person anymore, because you have control of your life now. You have control over that area. You might not have control over all the other things around you that are happening. Because that's really what it came down to, was like, yes, my life was out of control. It was literally, I had no control over those things that were happening. But what I 100% had control over was my nutrition. I couldn't work out. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to focus 100% on my nutrition. And when that happened, that's when it all started trickling into everywhere else, because now I started feeling better. I stopped with the old habits of self-sabotage. I started focusing on my food. And then, of course, when you fuel yourself correctly, your mind works better, your attitude, your emotions, all those things are better. And then I could be a better mom for my girls. I wasn't crying all the time and just like, being all the side effects of starvation and not eating and feeling myself. And then next thing you know, after I got, focused on my nutrition and started seeing results, I started thinking, you know what, I could actually make more time to go to the gym if I do this. And so I made that small change. Like, I could work out during my lunch break. I could go work out during my lunch break. My lunch break is 1 hour. I can do a workout in 30 minutes. I would set my timer. I would literally get dressed, set my timer on my watch to run for 15 minutes. And then when my timer went off, I had to turn around, and guess what? I had to run that same amount of time back. So it really pushed me to like push harder to go back. And then I would run back. And then when I got there, I'd be like, oh, I could really squeeze in like, 5 rounds of like 10 lunges, 10 squat. Like, I could do that right now. So I would do that, and then I would get dressed, and then I would eat. It doesn't take about an hour to eat. I would just shovel it in, and then I felt so much better. And then once that happened, I was in a cubicle at this time, miserable. I hated every minute of it. I felt my life sucking out of me from that aspect. And then that's when I was like, you know what? I can follow my dreams. I can do this. All because I focused on nutrition first. Then I started adding in fitness. Then I was like, okay, now I want to show my girls that no matter what's going on in their situation or in their life, that they can do anything they want. Anything. It doesn't have to be being a business owner or anything. It could just be, I'm going to set a goal and I'm going to achieve it no matter what is happening around me. If I focus on it, I can do it, right? So that's really, did I answer that all the way?
Yeah.
It led me to this. And so now I have this, and now I get to help other people do that same thing.
Right? Totally. I'm hesitating to like respond because I can hear an echo, but it's okay. No, it's fine. I don't hear it now, actually.
Okay.
So Yeah, no, I love that because I firmly believe the same thing. Like, and you and I are both huge fans. I've already mentioned her once in one of the other interviews, but we're huge fans of Rachel Hollis.
Yes.
And and she always says like you can only achieve one goal at a time, right? Like she says that. Not everyone's going to believe that or agree with that, and that's fine, but in a lot of my experience has been true. Like if you're trying to do too many things at once, you're going to do all of them like half-ass and not see any progress. So the fact that and I love, because so many people struggle with getting their health under control because they don't know where to start. A lot of people also, for whatever reason, I still haven't quite figured this out, they resist the diet change. Maybe because there's so much emotion and like history there, especially with women. And they jump into the fitness part because maybe it's more fun or I don't know. But then they don't see results. And it's like, honestly, truly, if you're going to start anywhere, you really should just start with your nutrition and your diet anyway and get that under control because that's where you're going to see the most progress, the most change. And like you said, once you have that under control, because that is something you can control. And I love that you said that because I've never heard that explained in that way. Like once you get that under control, then you can start slowly working in other things. It's amazing how like your world just opens up when you like gain a little bit of control in your life and like what that blossoms into. For both you and me, I feel like it's happened. Like we both come from a background of like chaos and like struggles where everyone does. We all have our things. And through health and fitness and like dialing into those things, we've managed to come out with like new passions, new dreams that we would have never imagined. And it's just like, that's what I want women to experience. And so if it happens by starting with focusing on your health, which I am a big believer of, to focus on yourself, your inner self, your physical self first. Once you have that under control, then it's like easy to see all the other areas of your life improve, right?
100%. That's exactly how it goes. I mean, it's all in different air. I mean, it's all a different painting or picture, but it's all painted with the same style, the same medium. It's all, that's exactly it. Yeah.
Yeah. So awesome. I love that you shared that. So your advice for them would be to like control what you eat because that's in your control.
Yep.
And then from there, and then also your actions. So like, then I love that too, because it's like, you're forcing people to take responsibility for themselves, honestly, and to stop playing that victim mode that you kind of mentioned that you were in yourself. Yeah. Like, woe is me, I'm a victim of my circumstances, I can't control anything, therefore nothing's gonna change. Wah, wah, wah.
We're all in there.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you for sharing that, Alyx. You've been like super open and honest about your journey, which I really appreciate. And I know it's going to touch so many people that are watching. So I'm curious, like now being where you are now, this is a question I've asked everyone, but like, what's your big why? Because in order for people to continue on, like it might be easy for people to start change and like implementing new habits, but like keeping them going and sticking with it, it's hard, right? Especially when the motivation goes away. So what's your why that's like driving you to keep striving to be better and grow and reach more people and show your daughters like what's possible for them and all of that?
Well, of course, they are my drive and my why. I mean, they're the main. And I always try to, I don't want to categorize every single woman, but most women have just that connection with their kids. And if that's not your situation, that's okay too. You can have another why. But for me, it's knowing that I'm leading by example. Like, how can I, really express to them, I want them to go after their dreams. Like, you can actually do anything you want. Like, how do I explain that if I work in a cubicle and it's harder to, some kids can still rise up with the right parenting, but like for me, and it's hard for me to try to explain that to them when, you know, if they're like, well, mom, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? So I want to live that, because I want them to see that, and I want them to see the effort and what it takes to do those things. And you know, I feel like in the millennial, and maybe I don't even know what the next generation is called, because, but anyway, we're all, you know, I feel like that generation is going to be the creative, going after our dream generation. And so I want to mold them now to know that they can do that. And, you know, it just takes effort and drive, and you don't feel like doing it all the time. But it also is balance. It's about loving yourself, focusing on you, and it's okay. I always say this to people. It's not selfish investing in yourself ever. It's never selfish when you're investing in yourself. The only time it would be selfish investing in yourself is if you're sacrificing the well-being of somebody else. But, you know, it's not, you know, you need to invest in yourself to do those. I mean, you can never invest too much in yourself, but showing them that, you know, because it's hard for my mom to tell me these things, and then me go, well, you worked in a cubicle your whole life. But she never did that. But I'm just saying that's my image, right?
Yeah.
And I know there's still people, I understand my mom a lot more now. My mom works in a cubicle, and she likes that. She truly does love doing that. I mean, that's just not my passion. And her why was me. Her why was me. Her why was showing me that, you know, I'm going to do these jobs, you know, to make sure I bring home food on the table. But what she didn't ever do was take care of her health. And that really damaged me as a child, and I had to find my way out of that. Mm-hmm. And I'm sad that she's still in it. You know, like it's hard. I can't get her out of it, you know?
Yeah.
So I want to show them at an early age to hopefully curb that, which leads into my other why, which is I want to crush the diet culture, and I want the diet culture to die, because it's like the worst. It's just breeds everything bad, and it takes over even our fitness industry, and it like kills me that, like you said, we have trainers that tell people, oh, just eat less than 1,200 calories, you'll lose weight. And it's like, and unfortunately it's not because they're trying to give wrong information. It's that they haven't created a system or a process to explain it to them correctly, and so they revert to what the diet culture just pushes, which is eat less, work out more, eat less, work out more. And that's like not the truth. You know, yeah. Every person and human being is different as an individual. So what I want to do is I want to crush the diet culture, teach as many people about flexible eating and intuitively eating, and knowing what's in food and what it's made up of, how it fuels our body, and then hopefully put Weight Watchers out of business.
I love that.
You know, like that's my other why. I want to say, I just want to crush the diet culture. It kills me. Yeah. That's why my mom is the way she is. That's why my grandma is the way she is, because of the diet culture. At the end of the day, when you really get to it, that's what it is, feeding us false information.
Totally. And like a one size fits all.
Yes.
Solution.
Yes.
Like, no, everyone's different. You can't, not everyone can eat 1,200, almost nobody can eat only 1,200 calories. Like,
that's crazy, right?
Yeah. So I love that. That's awesome. So I know that you have a freebie offer to give everyone who's participating in the summit. So why don't you go ahead and share that with us? Let people know also where they can find you, because I'm sure that they're going to want to get more of Alyx after this.
Okay. So I have two freebies. One for anyone that is interested in or is passionate about nutrition and fitness and wants to learn how to start that in a system that works, and help me crush the diet culture, be a part of this big thing that even April is also a part of with the Get Strong Academy, crush the diet culture. Join my webinar. It's you can join it at www.housemacros.com/webinar. And then for all my mamas out there, or anyone actually can get this freebie, it's www.housemacros.com/kids. And this freebie is just a food exchange list, and it's a very simple Excel list that has all different types of food, their serving size, and what the macros are on that. So you could print it out, put it on your fridge, keep it handy somewhere so that when you're packing your kids' school lunches or packing your own lunch, you could just have an easy access thing, especially for people who are not like wanting to be on their phones with MyFitnessPal. Just another resource that you can use to figure out what's in food and really understand it.
That's great. Oh my gosh, that's so helpful. And we'll put the links for people to find those resources below in the email. But that's awesome. I'm so excited. People are going to love that because I know a lot, even my clients, they're like, I hate logging in MyFitnessPal. I'm like,
Right?
I get it, you know, so that's an awesome resource.
Yes.
Sweet. Well, thank you so much, Alyx. It was awesome talking to you. I'm so glad that you were able to do this. Oh, and then where else can they find you? Are you on Instagram?
At Alyx House Macros at Alyx ALYX House Macros. That's you can find me on IG. That's my main platform. So
okay, cool, sweet.
Thanks so much for having me, April. I love chatting with you.
Yes, same, girl. And have a good rest of your day. Good luck with your other stuff that you have later today.
Yes, you too. I can't wait to watch your journey with little Isaiah, right?
Yeah, Isaiah.
Oh, I can't wait. Can you see all the pictures?
I know. Thanks, girl. I'll talk to you soon.
I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.